And good morning and happy Friday. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. It's Firearms Friday. I see Steve is with us, and here we go. So let me just preface this one before I start digging into the articles. I have noticed that over on which one was it? Daily Motion, Rumble, and BitChute, we get nearly the same number of views, but we don't have nearly as many subscribers. So, if you happen to be watching this on one of those wonderful alternative platforms on the replay, right, then please, by all means, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video, and leave a comment, whatever platform you're watching on. At the end of the show every day, I have... Okay, so we go live. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, not Daily Motion. Sometimes Daily Motion. God, there's a list. Twitch, Daily Costs, and a few others. So, we're live on those. If you're watching live and you have not already subscribed, please do. Only about half of our viewers are also subscribers. So if you haven't hit that button, it do us a hell of a lot of good to hit that button and share. Right? And then after the show, every day, I go and repost to Daily Motion, Rumble, Odyssey, almost every day. That's an algorithmic dependent thing. PocketApp.net, and a handful of others. So if you're watching this on any of those off platforms, please hit that button. Whatever the subscribe, follow, like, share, and leave a comment, guys. I go through after the show every day and check yesterday's comments on all the videos. If I haven't just come across them during the day through a notification somewhere, I check them every day after the video. So today, I'll repost Firearms Friday to all the alternative platforms, and then I'll go back and I'll look at yesterday's video to check all the comments and engage in the conversation. That's where, hey, if you've got a topic that you want us to cover on the Brushfire Mind, put that suggestion in the comments on one of those, on any of the videos. The more recent the video, the more likely I am to see it, the more likely I am to get to it. But leave a comment. We answer questions. We will pick up topics from the comments section. And that's, it's one thing to be engaged with the audience. Absolutely. Believe it or not, it's tricky. It's a little bit difficult to come up with a topic every day, or sometimes several topics every day. That's part of the work that I do for the several hours before the show goes live at 7:30 every morning. So, and if it's your first time watching, make sure you hit that share button, subscribe, hit the like button, and we do this show, not this show, I mean, this is Firearms Friday. We do this every Friday, but we do a live show every weekday morning at 07:30. Thanks for joining us, and if I'm being perfectly honest, a little bit of confession here, I was mostly just running my mouth to give the rest of you guys time to join the feed because the numbers were looking a little low at the beginning there. But now I see Steve, I see Krista, I see the Sergeant Major, and I see another Steve. So I've got two Steves in the chat. I got a proper Steve and the other Steve. I still haven't ever said which is which, and I hope the two of you continue to argue over that. I think I've got two other Steves that pop in from time to time. I'll never say which one is proper and which one is other, but at least the two Steves that are here now knows that one of them is proper Steve and the other two aren't. That's for you guys. So, good morning. You see we've got the counter up there already, and let's go ahead. I don't have any big gun world news, no big developments in SCOTUS decisions or anything. So today, we're doing kind of what was supposed to be the more traditional Firearms Friday, where we're just going to score a bunch of articles. Now, when we first started doing this, Firearms Friday was not, the firearms segment was not it wasn't its own show. It was a segment that we would tack onto the end of a show, and we would always look. We tried to guarantee that we'd do one DRT dead right there every week. But we had such a great reaction to that. Everybody seemed to enjoy the DRT story so much that we expanded our offerings to cover just armed self-defense and to score them, the highest score being a DRT. And in fairness, Cameron and I have both run our mouths a little bit about improving, developing, expanding the scoring system. It's not that we haven't done it, it's that we're still arguing about how correctly to do it. So that is coming eventually, but it's the kind of a process that we're braining over. Any suggestions from you guys in the comments section? And I would prefer these not in the live chat, but actually in the comments under the video on any platform. I don't care which, I'll find them. Any suggestions on changes to the scoring system? So I'll just quick, here's the scoring system right here. Here's the card. And what I'll do real quick, there are 3 basic scores that we assign to each story. And they don't fit every story. Right? Like, we had the story, I think week before last, of the guy that had to shoot the bear that was coming into his house. And I said, well, technically this story falls under BRM because his assailant didn't die, but let's be fair, this guy appears to have had to defend himself from a bear with a firearm. And so, or no, I think the bear actually was a DOT because they had to put him down. But that one was tricky because, a bear, you got to put a lot of rounds with small arms fire into a bear to take him down. And sometimes that's a question of time, not just a question of marksmanship. Now, sure, it takes fewer small arms rounds to put him down if you get them all in the dome, but that's a lot to ask of somebody who's not a professional marksman. It is. But then the bear had to be put down, had to be euthanized because of his injuries by the vets that dealt with him. So that's a little different than a DOT, a dead over there, where you've got a burglar broke into a house, was shot several times by the homeowner, the police took him to the hospital, and then he died of his wounds. It's not like the police took him to the hospital and the doctor looked at him and said, oh no, this guy's too shot up, we're just going to put him down. So the scoring system is admittedly imperfect. I don't know if we need better ranking or if we need better definitions for the 3 ranks we have, if we need more rankings. One of the things that we've looked at and started to develop are achievement badges. So all that, any comments, any suggestions that you guys have to help us develop that system would be much, much appreciated. So let's start digging into some stories. The first one I have here, CCSO. That's the Collier County Sheriff's Office. So we're talking Naples. Man shot and killed during attempted home invasion in Naples gated community. Uh-oh, Florida man. Don't screw it up, guys. We had a good Florida man story yesterday where Florida man is going to run, Project Methadone Dynamo. Let's see what happens. A man was shot and killed while attempting a home invasion in Saturday morning in a North Naples gated community. Oh God. It's a North Naples gated community. Please tell me Neil Bortz was the shooter. Please, God, please tell me Neil Bortz was the shooter. Okay. I'm gonna back off a second. Little confession here. Not the whole of it, but in part, some of my inspiration to even do this segment actually came from a story that I heard Neil Bortz report probably, God, it was a long time. It was before I enlisted, and I got out almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So we're talking at least just on the southern side of 20 years ago. Neil Bortz was reporting a story that had happened in Florida, and that may have been more than 20 years ago. Little perspective, this occurred at a Blockbuster that was in operation. So however far that has to take us. There was a kid, like 17-year-old kid, that worked at this Blockbuster, and I believe this was in Naples. I think, but yeah, I think it was in Naples. But the kid's dad would take him to work every night, or every afternoon after school, right? Dad would drop him off at work, and then the kid's dad would get to the Blockbuster to pick his kid up from work every night that he worked. And apparently the dad made it a point to be there like a half hour before his kid got off of work, just in case. Something about the kid he was always on the closing shift, and sometimes it took longer to clean up, blah, blah, blah. But Daddy would always show up about a half hour before the kid got off of work, and he'd sit in the parking lot and read a book while he was waiting for his kid to get off work. And one night, the store was just about to close. Daddy's sitting in the parking lot reading his book, and two armed men came in to try and rob the Blockbuster. So there they are, both up at the register. One of them holding the man's kid at gunpoint, and the other one emptying out the register. And this man got out of his car, fired through the window, and, to quote Neil Bortz, he sent one of the assailants to the hospital. To quote Bortz, he sent one of them straight to hell and the other one to the hospital with a gaping, sucking chest wound. And that just made my day. Just made my freaking day. And that was a long time ago. Legion, where 90s kids learned the art of debate. Mommy says we can rent one game. Let the arguments begin. I never rented a video game, Legion, from a Blockbuster, but I'm going to relate one more story since we're on the Blockbuster thing. This is just funny. I rented a movie when we lived in Maine from, it was a joint that had a name that sounded like it was like Dave and Bruce or something. It was the local video rental place. I rented a movie right before we moved, and it got packed up when the movers came, right? Army movers came and packed up the house. So the movie got packed up, and I didn't realize it. VHS tape, right? 5 years later, I got a collection notice from those guys right before they went bankrupt and went out of business. And they wanted, it was like $1,700 that they were trying to collect on that VHS. Never found the tape, right? I'm only assuming that it got packed up and it was an honest mistake. I don't know. I mean, they could have lost it and failed to put it in, but sent me an invoice for like $1,700. So they got somebody to track me down to Georgia to an address here, come after $1,700 of claim against a frickin' rental that cost me probably $1.99, and that still makes me chuckle to think back on. I never paid them. They went bankrupt. They went away, and I like to think that my $1,700 had a little something to do with that. You sons of bitches. Anyway, Florida man. Around 4:30, the suspect fired a single gunshot through the front door of an occupied residence in Raffia Preserve, detectives said in a news release. A confrontation between the suspect and an armed resident ensued outside the home, which ended in the resident shooting the suspect. The suspect, who detectives were working to identify, was transported to a local hospital where he died. That is a DOT. Pop. While I'm asking you guys for suggestions, what do you think of the pop sound? I think I need a better sound effect for that one. Right? Just, DRT, we've got a nice loud gunshot. Right? BRM, back to the rifle, back to basic rifle marksmanship. We've got the sad trombone. I'm pretty good with both of those. I might need to add a squish sound after the gunshot on DRT, but yeah, let me know what you think. I think I definitely need to improve the sound effect for the DOT. Maybe I should just add an ambulance siren and followed by taps. So, no arrests have been made, the sheriff's office said. The investigation is ongoing, but detectives said it was an isolated incident with no danger to the community. Cresta suggests maybe a cartoon pew pew pew. Uncle Steve says you need a ricochet for dead over there. Oh, I like that. I like that. D-O-T ricochet sound. That's a good one. Maybe a little blending. Maybe the ambulance and the ricochet. Yeah, Legion. The DRT add body dropping thud after. I think that's going to be the right play there. Hopefully I'll have some time later. I'm prop building today. I'll be a little glued in, as it were. So, okay. Next story. Oh, this is an update. Enjoy unlimited access. No, go away. Go away. Okay. We hope you enjoy our free content. Yes, it's the internet. Updated. Updated. Oakley police identify men involved in Saturday shooting. This was updated day before yesterday. So, Oakley police have identified a 37-year-old Oakley resident who shot and killed an alleged home intruder, also identified early Saturday morning, according to the Oakley Police Department. Tyreek Harrison, 25, of San Francisco, had allegedly forced his way into a Blue Heron Court home shortly after midnight when the 37-year-old home occupant, identified as Jonathan Gillette, opened fire several times, killing the suspect. Harrison police said. Well, that's pretty straightforward right there. Boom. Yeah, I think the body drop is going to be a winner there, Legion. I wish I could get my hands on the copyright for that Puddle of Mud song. So, Harrison was known to Gillette and had recently made violent threats to other adult females that were inside the home at the time of this intrusion, according to Oakley police. So this wasn't just like a robbery or burglary. This was some legit nastiness going on. These are short articles today. That's a little disappointing. Self-defense articles are often pretty short, but we've had some good ones recently. This is not the crop I was hoping for. Harrison was pronounced dead at the scene. He was known to the occupants and had a history of violence, police said in a news release. The investigation is ongoing, therefore names are not being released at this time, and there are no outstanding suspects, police said. Okay. Steve points out, dude in San Francisco used a gun in self-defense. He'll suffer for that. Yeah, probably. And Legion says Oakland is an urban hellscape. Legion, do you have your pipe in your hand? Little duck hunting hat? Yeah, because no shit, Sherlock. Yeah. That's, a thought occurred to me just now. The way that I do these is I kind of scour the internet for headlines that appear to be armed self-defense type headlines. There's a Reddit forum that I go to. There's some NRA forums that I look at. There's some various armed citizen forums that I grab these articles from. And I try as best I can to not have read the article or to have read as little of the article and drawn as few conclusions as possible from the headlines before we do the show, so that I'm reading this story for the first time and can enjoy it. And also so that part of this show is you guys getting what are often comical reactions to these stories from myself and, when he's here, Cameron. If any of you that's watching right now live would be interested I could give you kind of a breakdown of where to look for the stories. And if one of you, or if any of you, wanted to contribute by sending those stories over in a certain format where I can just open the stories all up without having read even the headlines, I'd be trusting you guys a lot. But without even having read the headlines and have, really get surprised by the stories that come through, that would be freaking cool. Especially Steve or Legion. We should talk about that. And we should go get Patrick in on that too. But anyway, back to the stories. We got the update on the Oakley man. Coming up on time, I got about 6 minutes left for you guys. Shirtless burglar was barking at dogs before... Okay. Okay. Oh, so, okay, clickorlando.com. You get the top comment today. Ooh. A shirtless burglar was barking at dogs before breaking into Orlando home, report shows. That's right, Steve. A second Florida man story. And unsurprisingly, this one appears to involve meth. To quote Ron White, yeah, I mean, I had the 7/8 of a gram of marijuana, but, okay, sure, I was wrong. I broke the law. Take me to jail. I get it. But this is Florida, man. You had to drive by 3 meth labs and a dead hooker just to get to my private plane. David Havens, 53, held on $5,000 bond, set to face judge soon. I'm not sure how this one came up on my radar, though. It doesn't appear to be a... Oh, here we go. Orlando, Florida. New details are revealing more of what happened in a home invasion last week in the Lake Como area that ended with the suspect being shot. News 6 learned about the incident from the eyes of the homeowner's daughter, not what she told police after Orlando police released the arrest report. Learned about the incident from the eyes of the homeowner's daughter, not what she told police. That sentence is alarming. Y'all remember that Will Smith movie that got widely panned, but I rather enjoyed. I thought it was hilarious. Wild Wild West, right? It was based on the older sort of semi-steampunk Western show. And toward the beginning of it, they had this scientist who had his head chopped off. And so they drilled a hole in the back of his head and shined a light through it so they could see the last image that he had seen with his eyes that had been burned into his retina, and that was the vital clue that led them to hunt down General Bloodbath McGrath. The guy with the freaking gramophone horn coming out of the side of his head. That's what I just pictured when I read News 6 learned about the incident from the eyes of the homeowner's daughter. Dear News 6, give them back. She needs them. Please? Thank you. So, in the arrest report, the teen gives her account saying she was made aware of 54-year-old David Havens trying to break in after she heard him barking at her dogs, shirtless. There should be a comma there. Copy editors. Guys, copy editors. And yes, Legion, Steve, you're right. I do have a penchant for schlock. I loved Snakes on a Plane. Because when I went and saw the movie Snakes on a Plane, I got exactly what was written on the box. I knew what I was getting into, and I got exactly what I expected. And it was glorious. And the best part of Snakes on a Plane is that freaking actor, B, the Korean pop star, got the absolute crap beat out of him. Also, that's also the best reason to see the movie Speed Racer, by the way. She then calls 911 and says Havens was trying the door handle. She immediately hung up the phone with police dispatch, called her mother, and then was instructed to hide in the bedroom. Police say moments later they arrived on scene and heard a gunshot. The shooter was the homeowner's boyfriend, who picked the homeowner up from walk where they received the call from the teen. Jesus, guys, come on. Hire a copy editor. Havens was found lying on the floor with a gunshot wound after the homeowner's boyfriend discharged his fire. Seriously, I want to take back my top comment joke on these sons of whores just because they can't get a frickin' comma in the right place. We saw quite a few police cars and officers and heard some screaming, and we were told to go back in our homes right away. And so we did. One neighbor told told News 6 at the time of the incident. Neighbors at the same time said the incident was odd to witness. Yeah, I bet. I bet it was. I don't know if some random dude was in my backyard barking at somebody's dogs shirtless. I might have some questions. Police in their report noted another neighbor did try to confront Havens and heard the homeowner's boyfriend verbally warn Havens to leave before shooting. It was shocking to all of us, and we have a tight neighborhood, and we all communicate, and so we all kind of were in it together. Looks like this one's a DOT. So, yeah. Bye has a special... Oh, B. Yes. You know, Legion, I just looked over and I realized that what you wrote... Okay, we're going to call this the last article. It's almost 8 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show. But I want to tell you about the funny thing that just happened in my brain. I just looked over and I saw that Legion had typed, "Bai has a special hatred in our hearts after being subjected to his soap operas ad nauseum in Korean language class." And I realize now that what you typed was B, but honestly, just because you didn't type it in Korean characters, but yeah, it's fine. It just didn't occur to me that that's what you meant at first. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? At first, I thought you were talking about something else entirely. But yes, B was the star of this Korean drama. He was a huge pop star in Korea about almost 15 years ago. And he was in a couple of American movies. He had a little bit of a blip on the Hollywood radar. Not great movies. Like I said, he was in Snakes on a Plane and Speed Racer, which Legion, when we saw Speed Racer, Legion described it as, I felt like I was strapped down into a chair with my eyes stapled open while somebody just poured red and blue slushy into my face. And that's probably the best description of a film that I've ever heard from a person. But Legion is correct. B earned a special place of hatred, specifically having been in this TV drama called it was called Full House, but it was not with Bob Saget. Thank you, Legion, for correcting your. How long did it take you to hunt those letters out on your keyboard, which I assume does not have the Korean markings on it? But this show, Full House, was about this girl whose mother or father, her last remaining parent, had just passed away. She was a professional writer, but not a very successful one. She was making basically just enough to kind of scratch out a living on. But her parents had left her this beautiful house. It was way too much house for any single person, really. It was just a huge, beautiful house. And her friend from work just discovered she was pregnant. So the friend from work that was pregnant and her boyfriend ginned up this ridiculous scheme. They bought the writer girl an all expenses paid vacation to China for 2 weeks, and doctored up some excuse that she wanted at a sweepstakes that she never entered. And so the girl takes the trip to China, and while she's gone, her friends sell her house to B. And he was playing a character with a different name, but it was totally just him playing himself. The character was a pop star with piles and piles of money, and he bought the big, beautiful house. And so the girl comes back from China, and that's the first, 15 minutes of the first episode, and the rest of the series is about the two of them living together because she offers to be, his maid or something. And the only thing I remember from that series that I enjoyed, that I got a chuckle out of, is he would tell her to make dinner, and he would just shout, "Bop hey!" Which is just you need 4 years of Korean education to really appreciate it, but it's crude, it's rude, it literally translates as make rice, but it might as well have the word bitch thrown in there for flavor, because it's just, it's the way you would say it to a dog. And I found that amusing in the context that it was applied. And that's way too much rabbit hole on a show that you guys will never watch, largely because you shouldn't. But Mario and I just enjoyed a little trip down memory lane, and I know he laughed when I said Bob Hay. So, it is Friday. We're going into the weekend. The rest of my day, I'm going to be building props for more production for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We love you. We appreciate you. And since we're going into the weekend, here's your safety brief. Don't drive drunk. Don't fry bacon naked. And TGIF. L. The gun is fucking loaded. Take care, and we'll see you Monday morning.